Hello, I'm Stacey Gualandi, and this is Understanding Cancer. You know, the subject of cancer is not an easy one, but it's a reality that millions of Americans experience every day.
The fight between Belushi and Newmar began as a simple dispute over construction work Belushi was having done, but escalated into an outright war.
Talking about inmate number 9818783, Stacey.
You've got it memorized, don't you?
Kinda, not really.
Exactly. Well, Sunday, she was at the MTV Movie Awards. Monday, Paris is spending her first full day behind bars here at County Jail.
Firefighters are describing these flames as coming at us like a freight train. You can already feel the heat. The smoke is rising. It's going to be completely engulfed this entire canyon. This is an earthquake simulator, as you can see. Right now, we're at a 5.0. It's easy to stand somewhat, and things are flying all over, but when it gets turned up to an 8.0, jeez, oh my God. You can see it's much more intense. How are you feeling?
I'm really feeling good. So like James Brown say, I'm feeling good. But he said, I feel good, you know.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's always so wonderful, the support we get here. And it's wonderful to see people out on a morning, giving their time to other people. It's just a wonderful thing to see.
When you speak to people maybe who have just been diagnosed, or what's the best advice that you give them?
Keep living. Keep living.
Why does this speak to you so much? Because obviously you're an advocate for cancer causes.
Yes. I've had many loved ones whose lives have been devastated by cancer.
Yeah, I mean, the ratings have been good for the show, but I imagine now that Christy is one of the two finalists on the program, I imagine now people maybe have this curiosity factor. They're going to want to watch the show now just to see, is there chemistry? What do they see? Because this, again, was taped back in September and October of last year. Now, if Scott Peterson gets life without parole, he'll be in a cell just like this one. It's very small. It's only 40 square feet. This one has a bunk bed. It's meant for 2 inmates.
And that's going to be your cell.
I volunteered to take a look at Sheriff Arpaio's jail from the inside and to work on the chain gang. And I can tell you, it began in a startling way.
The rest of the cells in here are locked down. They're in those cells for 23 hours a day due to disciplinary reasons.
The cells are cramped, 3 women in each.
Boy, these are small.
It's like boot camp.
Rule number 1.
I will be a model inmate.
We stand at attention as our cells are given the daily search for contraband.
Chain 3, fall in, secure door.
Later on this day, I join Misty and 12 other women who have volunteered to work on the chain gang for 30 days.
Get your head down, get your head down, head down, get your head down.
If this were happening to you, would you know how to survive? What you're watching is a simulation to help teach people how to get out of a hostage situation. It could mean the difference between death or getting out alive. In this scenario, I had to pretend I was an American tourist at a foreign restaurant. While it is only a simulation, I found it extremely stressful and scary. This ferry boat is taking me to an island in Washington's Puget Sound, home of one of the most controversial and bizarre communities in America. It's on tiny McNeil Island, about 3 miles by ferry from Tacoma, and it's home to hundreds of sex offenders. McNeil Island is about an hour from downtown Seattle, but the only way to get there is by ferry. For many of these sex offenders on the island, this ferry ride was their last connection to freedom. Now that the sun has set on Andrew Luster, we are learning more about the fugitive rapist's life on the lam. We traveled to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and retraced his every move, step by step. Before his capture, Andrew Luster was living the good life in Puerto Vallarta, surfing and strolling the boardwalk lined with shops and discos. For the last 3 days that Andrew Luster was in Puerto Vallarta, he stayed here at this motel. Now, the ironic thing is, the name of the motel is Motel Los Angeles. And even more ironic, the motel sits next door to a federal police office. A police officer accompanied me as the motel clerk showed me Luster's room. Number 20, $35 a night. The room was clean. It has a double bed, a small couch and a chair, a TV, and a rarity for that price, a bathroom in the room.
He was no problemo?
No.
But Luster didn't know he had a dog on his tail, a bounty hunter named Dwayne Dog Chapman, who was watching his every move. 2 doors down from Luster's motel room was room 24. Inside, one of Dog's men was waiting for just the right moment to pounce. At about 5 a.m., Andrew Luster came here to this taco stand and bought a couple of 50-cent tacos, and that's when all hell broke loose. Chapman and his group drove into this intersection, and according to witnesses, Chapman yelled, "You're under arrest." But as the bounty hunter had Luster in cuffs, the Puerto Vallarta police were in hot pursuit. Bounty hunting is illegal in Mexico, so the police forced Chapman's caravan over to the side of the road. Right here? The police, with their assault rifles, closed off the busy street and demonstrated how they arrested Chapman, his men, and Luster.
And the car was just right there.
They took Luster to the main jail on the city's outskirts. Police Chief Santiago Centeno showed me Luster's cell. One rickety fan cools the entire cell block. And right next to Luster, the cell where Dog Chapman and his 4 associates were put. I went inside the cramped concrete cell. The stench was nauseating. A hole in the floor served as the toilet. Flies were everywhere, and there were only 3 filthy beds for the 5 men. Before he was thrown into a cell, Luster had been driving this VW Jetta around Puerto Vallarta. The police showed me the impounded car. Inside, we found what Luster left behind: a camera and binoculars, small tools, and a folder that appeared to contain bank statements, and a black Velcro wallet containing money, and a picture of an unidentified boy. After only a day in custody, Luster was returned to the U.S. Dog Chapman says Luster told him he knew his days on the lam would end here in this picturesque Mexican resort, with a taco in his hand and his feet on the sand.